As primary season winds down, the Republican task of giving moderate makeovers to all of the people who are extreme enough to have won Republican primaries this year is a tall order. The Republicans are faced with the challenge of trying to seriously make over a lot of seriously conservative candidates. I do not envy anyone that job. But in one particular instance, not only is the makeover going to be difficult, Republicans have already tipped their hand that they don't really want to do it. In the Florida governor's race, the man who won the primary, Rick Scott, is not only not the establishment pick, he sort of got into a fight with the Republican Governors Association during the primary. The RGA chairman, Mississippi Governor Haley Barbour, publicly accused Rick Scott of distorting the facts in a political ad. Governor Barbour told Rick Scott to pull that ad and to move forward in the primary in a constructive manner. Mr. Scott declined. Meow. But Rick Scott winning the Florida primary isn't just awkward for the Republican powers that be because of his bad relationship with the Republican powers that be. Rick Scott winning the Florida primary and becoming the Republican Party's nominee for governor in that state is also a bit of a microcosm, a nutshell, a you can't make this stuff up example of what's going on in Republican politics for this year's elections. Rick Scott's main claim to fame politically is on the issue of health care. Whatever you think about health reform, essentially, it was a project to expand the number of people in the country with health insurance, right? Rick Scott did all he could to lead the opposition to health reform. He even took credit for killing the public option. His group, Conservatives for Patients' Rights, helped organize those Go Scream at Your Congressman events during the hot, shouty town hall meetings last August. Remember those? To be clear about what this means, Rick Scott organized opposition to more people getting health insurance while he was running a chain of for-profit walk-in clinics that depend for their profitability on people not having health insurance. It's a chain of for-profit health clinics, many located inside Walmarts, that largely serve the uninsured. In other words, Rick Scott makes money off of people not having insurance, and so Rick Scott organized a political movement to keep people from getting insurance so they could go to real doctors' offices. But that's not even the most incredible thing about Rick Scott. Before Rick Scott founded his chain of for-profit health clinics that depend on people not having insurance in order to make money, what was he famous for? He was famous for incurring the largest Medicare fraud fine ever. He headed up a healthcare company that systematically defrauded the government on Medicare charges. In other words, stole money to the point where the fine was $1.7 billion. The biggest ever. The fine for what happened at Columbia HCA under Rick Scott's leadership was $1.7 billion. Amid that scandal, he was quietly pushed out by the board of directors of the company and given a nearly $10 million golden parachute, leaving the company holding the bag for the fraud charges and leaving Rick Scott's own reputation apparently to be a great springboard to higher office. Rick Scott was not exactly expected to win this gubernatorial primary in Florida. He was behind in most of the polls heading into yesterday's race, but he won. So, congratulations, Florida Republicans. You did it. You really did.